Hello and welcome to Queenie's Cards of the Month for September 2024. All up in here on Facebook and eventually YouTube, because that's the fun stuff that I do. I'm going to be doing the thing that I did before where I'm talking to one, showing to two different cameras, because this is the technology I'm working with. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Hello. Well, hi again. So September is going to be a month of uncovering, integrating, healing, discovering, acknowledging our shadow. The Dark Lady came back. She came to us a couple weeks ago for the card of the week. And now she's back as the influence of the whole month for the month of September. Okay, so let's talk about the Dark Lady. Let's talk about what it means to acknowledge, discover, integrate, heal, and heal our shadow, and how that can bring more of us forward to the world, how that can be empowering. Okay, I will tell you a little short story that relates to the Dark Lady. In 1999, I did a one-woman show in the Fringe Festival in San Francisco, and my show, this was before it was a lottery to get in. I stood in line at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning outside the theater in the Tenderloin to make it into the schedule. So anyway, now it's a lottery, so it's a little bit different. Anyway, so I got in, and my show was called The Divine Box, and I'm getting to why it relates to the Dark Lady. The theory or idea behind the Divine Box is that when we're born, we get this really beautiful box. And we're given this, but we're not told what to do with it. So we start, like everybody gets one, so we start watching what other people do with theirs. And what other people do with theirs is it appeared that they put all the things that they felt were unlovable about themselves, all the bad feelings, traumatic events, ways that they feel like they're a crappy person. They put that all in the box. And they shove it in the box, when you feel envious, when you feel jealous, when you feel angry, anything that felt like it wasn't going to get you loved or get your needs met, you shoved in the box. Yeah, you. No, I'm just kidding. We shove in the box. At a certain age, the items that we've shoved in the box start eking out all over the place, because the box can only contain so much. Because I guess ultimately the idea of having that box is not to shove everything in it forever and have them stay forever. It's to save them for later, for when we're ready to face them, for when we're ready to look at them. And the Dark Lady indicates a time period when it's time. It's time to look at them. It's time to acknowledge them. Some of the things that we put in our box is maybe we grew up in an environment or had relationships when we first started having relationships with people, it wasn't okay for us to get our needs met. It wasn't okay for us to ask for connection, affection, attention in any way, shape, or form. And so we shoved those needs into the box because we needed to be loved. We shoved all the ways that we were ourselves and we're not being able to make another person happy or get our needs met by another person. So we contorted ourselves into special little pretzels and shoved everything that didn't fit in the box. There's always an extra part. But this month with the Dark Lady, we're really being required, requested, shown these parts. The parts that you haven't accepted or integrated or acknowledged, some of them are going to come bubbling up to the surface. It is not to torment you. It is not to make you feel bad. What it is for you to bring more of yourself forward, for you to love and acknowledge. Because in that box, or in yourself, in your shadow, is where more of your power, more of your empowerment lies, in that shadow. It's where you can bring more of yourself into your life, more of your power, your enthusiasm, your passion, your energy. It's very exhausting to try and keep yourself under control all the time, or the way you think that you need to keep yourself under control. It's exhausting. It gets even more exhausting as you get older to not be who you are out into the world. There are ways that we can, even though we were told that it wasn't okay or shown that it wasn't okay, we're here for a reason. And our full self is a precious piece of the puzzle that is the whole universe. And bringing more of our precious self to forward into our lives will be so much better for the planet. So the Dark Lady, sometimes we're going to have to face some shadows that we may not want to face. But we might find that those shadows aren't as ugly as we thought that they were. We might find that those shadows just needed you to look at them. And then they can just kind of turn into something better. But that's the influence of the whole month, is that we're going to have to do shadow work this month. And we're not going to have too much of a choice. So you might feel a little bit squeezed, but understand that the squeeze that you're feeling is you resisting acknowledging those parts of yourself that really need to come up and out and be owned and acknowledged. And like I said, your magic is in that shadow. I know I don't like conflict or confrontation, but because I feel ashamed, and that's another shadow, ashamed if I get angry or if I lose my stuff for a minute and upset anyone. And so I will, most likely, have to face some of that this month, because sometimes if I'm angry about something or respond that way, sometimes I'm right. It's a righteous response, even though a lot of the time I don't feel like acknowledging that it's a righteous response. You know what I mean? So this month, our shadows are coming up for healing. And like I said, it doesn't have to, or didn't I say it? I didn't say it yet. It doesn't have to be awful. It could be a way to love yourself more. It could be, yeah, I'm really pissed off and I'm going to retreat to my corner and I'm going to write out all the things I'm pissed off about just to get it out of me. And then I can move on from it. I'm going to maybe have to cry so I can get it out of me, so I can move on with it. And ultimately, doing shadow work will bring more of you and your own magic to the surface. It will be healing for you. It will be healing for the people around you, because the ones that can't handle more of your full self, then you kind of know, well, they either need to adjust or say goodbye. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Say goodbye. So the Dark Lady is an influence around the whole reading. I'm going to go to the Cat Spirit card so we can get some support, because definitely if we're doing shadow work this next month, just don't be surprised if some sneaky feelings that you thought that you had managed, especially if you thought that you'd managed them, come up, and you will have to not necessarily remanage them, but notice them. Ooh, wow, that still pisses me off. Okay. Instead, and do your best to, where all of this could be kind of reactionary, do your best to take a beat before you respond, because the situation could be something totally different, and it could be just triggering something from the past in you that you would have normally responded that way to, but it doesn't have anything to do with what's happening right now. Hopefully I'm not talking in circles, but here's the cat that will support us in dancing with our shadows. See, it's like the Andy Gibb song. Yeah, those of you that are really young won't get it, and it's all right. Shadow dancing, borderline disco pop thing. Andy Gibb, come on. He used to be a real cutie, and then things just went wrong. He just was not a strong dude. He had shadows, and he did not dance. Well, he did dance with them, but he didn't dance with them in a very good way. Let's just put it that way. That is my own personal opinion for entertainment purposes only, just like this whole thing. Okay, this is how we are going to be supported doing our shadow work this month. See that little guy? Play. We've got to play with it. We've got to see the ridiculousness of it. See the lightness of it. Enjoy how light it feels. You know, honestly, it's like a cat getting zoomies after they use the cat box. I'm done with that. I'm going to run away from that. I'm going to run up the curtain and get the zoomies. And they seem so happy. That's what happens if you're able to acknowledge a bit of your shadow and release it. And integrate the parts that you want to keep and let go of the parts that you don't. All right, play. Meet Pippa of the Dream Circus. There we go. I'm trying to do both cameras, so I'm sorry. Meet Pippa of the Dream Circus. Some kitties come straight out of the imagination to remind us to play. Here is to a moment of dancing, twinkle toes, and laughter. Where most only see empty air, Pippa sees colorful tweeting birds doing a tantalizing minuet and errant butterflies playing peekaboo, urging her to the chase. To play is to do something for the pure joy of the doing. It is a frolicking mix of experimentation, curiosity, and absurdity. Where can you let more of Pippa's playful spirit and lighthearted air into your work and your life? Where? Well, into your shadow work, that's where. Like I said, see the ridiculousness of it. When you see yourself getting triggered by something that feels similar to something from the past, but currently has nothing to do with that, play with it. somehow. I know. Laugh at yourself. Not in a mean way. Just laugh at yourself. Anyway, all right. So we've got play as the support of the Dark Lady, which is interesting, but seems very, very appropriate as far as I'm concerned. So now we are going to go to the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, and the end of the month using the major arcana in the tarot. And this is the Blooming Cat Tarot. We always like to use them. And the beginning of the month would be covering the energy from September 1st, which we started the other day, to the 12th. And if you're wondering what this is, that I have a fan in my window. And so I'm doing special fan stuff. I'm doing a fan dance for you. Right? Okay. Anyway, so the beginning of the month is September 1st through the 12th. Middle of the month is the 13th through the 21st. And then the 22nd through the 30th. So we've got the beginning of the month. And I'm not going to turn them over until I... There. All right, let's see what we got here. The 1st through the 12th. Yeah, okay. And it's upside down. Okay. All right, so the 1st through the 12th is the Death card reversed. What is the Death card? If you've watched these before or you know anything about the tarot, the Death card is not about death. It's about letting go. Letting go of things that are no longer useful to you and starting over again. So it's about endings and new beginnings. It's about clearing stuff out so that you can start over. And that's what the Death card is about. This Death card, card number 13, is reversed. So I read reverse cards not as something terrible, not ominous, but either it's something that we're resisting, which could kind of coincide with the shadow work stuff, something we're resisting or something that's happening on a very deep level, which also coincides with the shadow work stuff. So it seems that we're going to, it's going to start deep. The shadows that come up, the situations that come up that trigger those shadows coming up, it's going to start deep. It's going to start very internally. So what you might find, and I'm kind of finding that myself, is that there are some internal shifts happening that are causing me to think differently and not be able to go back to the old way of thinking about things. And that's kind of the Death card. The Death is almost like a gate that you go through that you cannot go back through. And having this upside down is this internal, there is an internal shift happening that is bringing this stuff up, and the stuff that is coming up to be released or acknowledged or integrated, that stuff that's coming up is stuff that has been in your way, stuff that has been holding you back. And so having the Death card reversed as the card for the first part of the month until the 12th is that there is a shift happening. And you may not see it on the outside until maybe the middle of the month, but it's happening. There's a shift happening. It's almost like you're not going to be able to control the change that's happening within you, because it is a natural unfolding. It is a natural, things are naturally bubbling up to the surface for you to look at and let go of, to clear your path. And that's exciting for me. I want a clear path. I personally have been feeling a little bit stuck in a loop and tired from being stuck in that loop. And I'm looking forward to a path being cleared. I don't know exactly what that means. That's a little scary, but I'm looking forward to it. So that is what's happening the first part of the month from September 1st through the 12th is we've got the death card. There's a cat on there. It makes it cute. Anyway, all right. So from the 13th to the 21st, the next bit of time that we go into, we will have the Emperor. And yes, the Emperor is reversed. But that makes sense because once you clear things away and start over, the Emperor comes in and builds the foundation. So, but having it upside down it is not going to be, again, this will be not something that you can kind of see externally. You're going to have to find a way in the middle of this month to kind of anchor yourself regardless. Anchor yourself regardless of what you're seeing on the outside. Ground yourself regardless. So that takes trust. But because we've got the Emperor card right there, because we've got this guy right there, we can trust the Emperor to build a good foundation. But this foundation is an internal foundation. So here's what happens when you address more of the shadow aspects of yourself that the Dark Lady brings up is that you are able to release the things that are holding you back. You're able to release more of the things that are holding you back. We're never done. We're never complete. I think that's what is kind of a mind F, is that we think that, oh, we're just going to be done at some point. Well, if you're done, why be here? You're never going to be complete, but this part of it, this particular cycle of it, is what's happening. So with the Emperor card, we've started out with the Death card. We've released the things that have been holding us back, the things that we're willing to release. We've cleared the path, start new. Now we're kind of anchoring that knowledge in, anchoring that stuff in, and grounding ourselves. And then we move to the end of the month, which is the 13th until the, oh, no, I'm a liar. The 22nd until the 30th, and we get the Chariot. And here we are with another card that's upside down. So my major arcana cards are really, this is an internal month. I guess, when you're dancing with the shadow, when you've got your shadow as a dance partner, a lot of things are happening internally. But the Chariot happening internally means that there is, pardon my throat, there is forward movement. The Chariot moves forward. The Chariot is the mastery of the mind and the emotions. So it's interesting. We get grounded with the Emperor, and then we're able to kind of take some steps and move forward internally. So what that does is that, okay, I'm getting it. Here we go. The Chariot kind of takes us beyond where we were with the Death card and the Emperor card. We get grounded. It's like we get grounded, we get into our Chariot, and we start moving forward internally, kind of on a path. We're getting set on a path, but it may be like an internal path. It may be something only in your mind and heart to start out with, but eventually it will show up in the outside world. But right now, all this stuff, this is going to be an internal month. There may be stuff that happens on the external, but a lot of this month is about the shifts that we're needing to make internally. That is what these cards are telling me. I was really surprised that these were all upside down. Not because I think it's bad, but it's just, oh God, how much more of my guts can I look at? How I'm tired. But these are important guts to look at, so I'll be okay. Now, the next card that I'm going to pull is, I think I want to pull another fairy card, and then I've got another couple of decks to talk about. I'm going to call this our guide card. This is the energy that will help guide us. It's almost like the energy that will shine a light, that will light the way, because a lot of this is like, other than being playful about it, a lot of this is going on behind the scenes or underneath the surface. So who's got the flashlight? Let's find out. Oh, nice. The Oakmen. The Oakmen have the flashlight. Now, let's talk about the Oakmen. So, the first words that I always get when I get the Oakmen, when I pull that card, is "you know better." So the Oakmen is about our collective wisdom and knowledge. And the oak, because the oak trees can be very, very old, and they carry all the knowledge, like in their rings, of whether it was a rainy season, whether it was, like, they have their history in the trunks of them. And we have our history in our bodies and in our energetic systems. And that, trusting that, is going to shine a light in all of this, like doing the shadow work and the internal work. You've got to trust. So it's not even just trust. Acknowledge your knowledge. Acknowledge your own innate wisdom. This month is a time to acknowledge more of who you are. And part of that is wisdom. So a long time ago, when I started doing readings for people and continue to do readings for people up until maybe the last 5 years or so, I always tried to do a lot of qualifiers and a lot of, oh, maybe, how do you feel about that? And like, and I also tried to present myself. I didn't present myself as like some sort of expert or anything. And I still kind of hesitate. But what I do now is, like, I can acknowledge that I know some stuff. And I can acknowledge that I have some sort of understanding of human behavior and emotional stuff and spiritual stuff. And that it's okay for me to be wise that way. Which I think that kind of went along with resisting acknowledging that I'm a manic pixie dream crone, that I'm going into my crone years, or that I've been in my crone years and I was pretending that I wasn't. Don't we all? And that the Oakman is about kind of acknowledging your wisdom. Oh yeah. Acknowledging how far you've come, acknowledging what you've been through, because the oak acknowledges what it's been through and how far it's come and the wisdom it's gained, and owns it. Like, I store it in my body, and I store it in my body, and it is okay. I hold all the knowledge. Like, you don't even need me. You have all the knowledge within you. Which, puts me out of business. But I'm not really in business anyway. a little, but it's accessing that. And this month, the one who's going to shine the flashlight into the shadows is your own wisdom, your own inner knowledge. So again, with the inner, right? Again, with the inner. I. September, what are you doing? It's not bad. It's just some of it. It's not necessarily like looking up your own, but it's looking into the dark and seeing what's there. So it doesn't feel like it's a lot of self-examination, because I think that whatever is happening is going to just, you're not going to have to go looking for it. Let's just put it that way. You're not going to have to go looking for it. So right now I'm going to be doing the Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. And we're going to see what animal guide is going to assist us this month with all this shadow dancing. Woo. I can't hear the song in my head, so I can't do it. All right. Oh no, that's really funny. Okay, so the it's Groundhog Spirit, and it says time to let go. Like, how many more messages about letting go of what doesn't serve you anymore, letting go of the old stuff, and kind of owning more of yourself, making way for more of you could there be? I don't know. That's a lot. So let's read what the book has to say about Groundhog Spirit. I see, groundhogs are cute. Are they? I mean, okay, so I get confused because I was thinking about prairie dogs, but groundhogs are cute too. And apparently they tell us when there's going to be a whole bunch more spring, or whether spring's starting or there's going to be more winter. What's not to love? Okay. Sorry. Groundhog Spirit, time to let go. The oracle message for this is: endings lead to beginnings, and death is a part of life. So we've got, at the beginning of the month, we've got the death card. So Groundhog Spirit is here to let you know that it is time to accept the natural ending of something that is no longer serving you. I don't know about you, but is this month's reading kind of bonking us over the head with a bat or something? Or smacking us like in Moonstruck when Cher smacks Nicolas Cage? Snap out of it! Anyway, we love to hold on to what is familiar, but the new needs space to arrive so growth can occur. When Groundhog Spirit appears, it is a sign that there is something in your present situation that you need to let go of so that something new can be born, something that will far better serve you. When the groundhog sees his shadow, he retreats to his den. They said shadow. When the groundhog sees his shadow, he retreats to his den. So, too, might you yearn for a little more time to say goodbye and transition into the new. However, change is coming, and it is good, so let go of your resistance. Spring brings many blessings, and what must die will always be reborn in a new form that will be right for you. Life requires change and detachment. Say farewell to whatever once served you and get ready for something amazing to take its place. Spirit is already sending it your way. Okay, well that's a good support card. What do you think? That's a good animal guide. We like that Groundhog Spirit. And it really does go along. And don't forget, with all of this, is to find time to be playful about it. You know? I mean, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to also pull a card, Gentle Chaos, by Ghost Honey. And I have said this before, but I found them on TikTok, and they are really funny and sweet and magical, and I was very excited to get this deck. And this is the Wrap It Up card. How about that? And then we'll talk a little bit more, but I want to wrap up my YouTube part of the video. Oh, the garden. So here's the garden. And this is a rose that has little buggies on it and everything here. The garden. And it's a rose that's been open for a while. All right, so let's find. Okay, let's see. The garden. Years later, I would walk through this garden by myself, taking a quiet moment. Let's start that over. Years later, I would walk through this garden by myself, taking a quiet moment away from our friends and family inside, to admire the beauty of the greenery, the dark, billowing storm clouds, and my new shoes on stepping stones that I had walked so many times before. The garden is a sign to revisit a familiar face, a familiar place, not a familiar face. No recycling. I don't recycle boyfriends anymore. Jeez. Anyway, the garden is a sign to revisit a familiar place and try seeing it with new eyes. Well, so let's see what this could mean about all this shadow work. I think that by doing the shadow work, it causes us to look at things with new eyes. It causes us to see things differently because we're not the same as we were before. We're more. We're more, and we have the wisdom that we didn't have before. And even if we come into a situation that feels similar to something that we were involved in before, we know it's different because we're different. And we know that we can respond differently because we're different. Because we have knowledge that we didn't have before. Because we have trust in ourselves and our ability to stay centered that we didn't have before. And that's great. And that's like September. So I'm going to close my YouTube video, but we're going to continue to talk a little bit, just for a little while longer, if you want to hang out with me on Facebook Live. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, you can, look up my website, www.queenieintuitive.com, and check me out there. Thank you. And we'll continue Facebook Live.